Audio Jungle.
Student of Universitas Kristen Indonesia, and now I'm majoring English Education Department. This video is for those of you who are in the first grades of
Audio
second
Jungle.
Today's lesson is talking about Malikunda, that you can see in the chapter 13 of your English book. So, before any further ado, let's check this out.
Audio Jungle.
Okay, before we start our lesson, that talking about Maling Kundang, I want you to know about our learning objective in this lesson. There are three learning objectives that students expect to be able. The first is student able to explain the purpose of the communication, text structure, and language element of the simple spoken and written narrative text about the folk legend in the context used. Second is student able to explain the content of spoken written folklore by paying attention to the purpose of the communication, text structure, and language elements of the narrative text according to the context of its use. The third is student able to tell folk legend, speaking and in the writing with regard to the purpose of communication, text structure, and the language element of the narrative text according to the context of its use. After we know about our learning objective in this lesson, I have one text here about the legend of Maling Kundang that I want you to guess what kind of this text. This text is talking about narrative text. What is narrative text? Narrative text is a text which contains about fantasy, fairy tale, or a true story that has been exaggerated. There is usually a moral to be learned at the end of the story. And the purpose of the narrative text itself is to amuse, entertain, and to deal with the actual of vicarious experience in a different way, and the narrative deal with the problematic event. And there are four generic structures of the narrative text. The first is orientation, second is complication, the third is revolution, the fourth is coda. The orientation contains the introduction of the characters in the story as well as the time and place of occurrence. The complication contains a picture of the emergence of the crisis or problem experienced by the characters in the story to be solved. And the revolution contains the characters of the story is how to solve the problems that exist in the section complication. And the last part of the structure of narrative text, coda, contains the change in the characters and lessons to be learned from the story. And the language feature of the narrative text use the active verbs, use the past tense, use the conjunction, and use the first person or the third person, and use the specific nouns and adjective and adverbs. And this is the examples of narrative text. They are folk tales, animal story, legend, myth, short story, comic, cartoon, and others. And for the folk tales is the story that grew out of the life and imagination of the people, or folk tale. There have always been children's favorite types of the folk literature. The example of the folk tale is Bawang Putih, Bawang Merah. And the myth is a traditional story and except as history serves to explain the worldview of a people, a story of great unknown age which originally embodied a belief regarding some fact or phenomenon of experience, and in which often of the force of nature and of the soul are personified. An ancient legend of God, a hero, the origin of rage, and etc. A wonder story of prehistoric origin. A popular fable which is or has been received as a historical is Maling Kundang. So So the maling kundang is kind of myth. And next is the legend. Legend also story have been made, but they are different from the myth. Myth reply questions about the working of the nature, and it's set in a time long ago. Before written story, legend of the people and the action or death. People are living in a more weekend is mentioned in a story. Story submit for the purpose and it's based on the fact, but they don't really exist. The example of the legend is Lake of Toba. And for the fables are about animals that can talk and act like a man or a plant or force like a nature such as lightning and wind. Plant may be able to move and speak, and nature force cause things to happen in the story because they're strange. The example of this fable is the wolf and the horse dog. Okay, back again with the text of the legend of Maling Kundang. I want you to classify about the generic structure of the narrative text in this text. There are 4 paragraphs that you can classify to the generic structure of the narrative text. The first is orientation, complication, sequel of event, resolution, and coda. I give you 1 minute to do by yourself, and after it we discuss together. Time is yours. Okay, thumbs up. Discuss together with the orientation. The orientation purpose gives the reader information about who was involved, what happened, where it happened, and when it occurred. Summary of the text: a long time ago, a small village near the beach in West Sumatra lived a woman and her son, Maling Kundang. Maling Kundang and his mother had lived apart because his father had passed away when he was a baby. Maling Kundang was a healthy, diligent, and strong boy. He usually went to see, catch his mother, or sell the couch fish in the town. And one day, when Maling Kundang was reeling, he saw a merchant ship being raided by a band of pirates. With his bravery, Maling Kundang helped the merchant defeat the pirates. To thank him, the merchant allowed Maling Kundang to sail with him. Maling Kundang agreed in the hope to get a better life. He left his mother alone. And then many years later, Maling Kundang became a wealthy. He had a huge ship and a lot of crews who worked loading trading goods. He was also married to a beautiful wife. When he was sailing on his trading journey, his ship landed on the coast near a small village. The local people recognized that it was Maling Kundang away from the area. The news ran fast in the town, and Maling Kundang was become rich, and now he is here. And the complication is proposed to show the beginning of the conflict in the story. That the story is talking about an old woman who, as a Maling Kundang's mother, ran to the beach to meet the rich merchant. She wants to hug him to release her sadness of being lonely after a long time. When his mother came near him, Maling Kundang, who was with his beautiful wife and his ship crew, denied that she was his mother. She had pleaded Maling Kundang to recognize her as his mother, but he kept refusing, and yelling at her. At last, Maling Kundang said to her, "Enough, old woman. I had never had a mother like you, a dirty and ugly woman," said Maling Kundang. And the cycle of events show how the story developed after the conflict. After that, he ordered his crew to set sail to leave a woman who was still full of sadness and anger. Finally, feeling enraged, the prince Maling Kundang that he would turn into the stone if he didn't apologize to her. Maling Kundang just laughed and set sail. And for the coda, telling how the characters have changed and reflect what they learned to the experience of the moral message of the story. So in this coda is your assignment to do. We can discuss it next week. So after we learn about what is narrative text and we discuss about the narrative text with the text of Maling Kundang, I hope you can compare the narrative text, and I hope you know the types of the language feature that you can use to tell a story of the legend in the narrative text. And the last, I hope you can tell or write a story of the legend based on the structure of the narrative text itself. Okay, thank you for your attention. See you on the next video. Bye.